In this crazy world, it's so hard to unwind. So I'm taking time just for me. Gonna find my peace, let my soul be free. In the quiet moments, that's where I'll find a little room to breathe and leave it all behind. Give me room to breathe, I need some time to heal my heart, to clear my mind. Gonna love myself, yeah, I believe in the power of me. Just give me room to breathe.
Great new day to all my self-care friends and family. Welcome back to another Room to Breathe podcast. I'm your host, Life Coach 614, and I am so happy that you've made space to be here with us today. Now, before we jump into today's conversation, I need you to do me a quick favor. If you're feeling the vibe, go ahead and show us some love. Tap the screen, like, comment, but most importantly, I need you to share this out with someone who might need a little healing energy today. And if this is your first time here or you haven't already done so, go ahead and hit that follow button. Subscribe to our channel so that way you're always tapped in when a new episode drops. I also want to personally invite you to check out our digital home at theselfcareclub.org, where you will find everything from affirmative apparel to motivational merch, as well as a ton of free resources to help nourish your growth and remind you that you are supported every step of the way. Just know that you don't have to do this alone. We are healing in community, growing one breath, one moment, one day at a time. So today, I encourage you to give yourself permission to pause, reflect, and to make space for peace, for growth, but most importantly for you. And remember, if anything in today's episode hits home, be sure to drop a green heart in the chat. That is our community's way of saying I am healing, I am growing, and I am showing up for me. Now, let's get ready to breathe, reflect, and grow together. This episode is for the woman who has dreams bigger than what she has shown. For the one who feels the pull towards something more, even when there's no map, no model, or no permission slip. Family, today we are making room for a powerful story of courage, solitude, and self-trust. Valeria's journey takes us across uncharted waters, literally and spiritually, as she shares what it means to choose belief over limitation, purpose over fear, and faith over what feels familiar. Her story is a living reminder that where you come from does not get to decide where you're going. I think that today's conversation brings to life something that I say often, which is nothing is impossible because the word itself says I'm possible. So everybody get ready because we are talking about uncharted waters, about solitude as self-care, and about trusting yourself when the shore behind you feels safer than what's calling you ahead. So without further ado, I need you to help me welcome Valeria into the Room to Breathe. Hello, beautiful.
Hello. Thank you so much for that great introduction. Is that really me?
Thank you. You're like, did I do that? Absolutely, you did. Before we get into your story, I want to ask you, how's your spirit doing right now?
It's complexing, it's in peace overall. I have to make a little stop on my journey just to reconnect and rearrange them. But the boat, it's my home, the ocean, it's my peaceful and my safe place. So I do feel like a fish out of the water.
Yeah, completely understood. And hey, I'll trade that scene for the one that I have going on right now. So yeah.
Welcome to that time.
So before we talk about the journey that you're on now, I want us to just kind of slow down a little bit and honor where your story began, because I think so much of who we are, and who we become is shaped by what we first saw and believed was possible. So let's just start at the beginning. when you were a child, what did possibility look like where you grew up?
Wow, yes. When I was a child, I was raised, I was born and raised in the biggest slum in Rio de Janeiro. Rocinha, it's the name. And yeah, my parents, we have a lot of love. I have one sibling, one sister. And I feel today, looking back, we were raised with a lot of love and respect for us as a human being. But the surround, we did have much options, you know. And I could see as entering the teenage time age, I could see some kind of the same patterns that happened to other girls around my age. It was supposed to happen to me as well. So mention about the opportunities, my opportunities back then, even with going to school, have education, the opportunities was more likely being a housekeeper in somebody's rich neighborhood, you know, or I could have a better life if I was a girlfriend of any drug dealers, you know. Those two was the opportunity that was presented to me back then.
Yeah. I think that just raises, a big point that I find myself often talking about. When we grow up in environments where the options feel limited, it can feel like life has already been decided for us. And so you've shared, that certain life paths felt pre-written. When did you actually realize that you wanted something different?
I think that everything started with a surround the community, the slum that I live. They every year around January they have a project specific for the low incomes, you know. And my mom, thanks to her, she always signed us up. Probably for the reason of escape us on the holiday time, you know, escape from us on the holiday time. But I don't think she had any idea what she was planting in me, because that project we call Projeto Botinho. It's a participation with the lifeguards on the beach with the government, and they provided 30 days of kids from the age, I believe, 7 until the 16, and they provide 30 days working on the beach, learning how to swim, learning how to know the waves, to getting connected to the ocean, you know. And I participated in all of them until I was 16 and I could not participate anymore. And that was the beginning, the whole ocean love that I have, you know, the respect for the ocean, for the nature, the respect of everything surround that, because even if rain, we were forced to be there. The project was 30 days with rain or no rain. So I was able to learn everything about the nature and the ocean in every stage of, you know, of a rainy stage or sunny stage or whatever that the day was bringing to us. We have to figure it out right there and there. So, and that's how I decided I can't be a girlfriend of, you know, some leader in the community. And I definitely don't want to be a housekeeper, nothing against that. But I, I have the power inside me to turn that around and not be one more in that statistics, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that that realization doesn't, typically hit us all at once as we're kind of growing up and we're maturing. I think that that's something that starts to build in us quietly, especially, when the examples around you are limited. Like you said, you saw this or that, and you knew you didn't want this and you didn't want that, but what else was there? It's like now I have to just kind of go out there and see the world. Do you remember the moment where you first imagined a life beyond what you could see around you?
I think I do. At the age of 13, I lost my biological father. I was raised by my stepfather, which it's my dad for the rest of my life. But I did have connection and contact with my biological father. I did spend a little bit of time with him. And at the age of 13, I lost him because of the drugs, of the involvement that he had on that side. And that's what brought to me in terms of profession. I know today, the age 13, people think you're too young to think what you want to do or what you want to become. But I knew that psychology was something very deep into me, because even though having my stepfather that raised me and considering my father, I I lost someone that made me, and that loss, it confused my head quite a lot, and a lot of feelings came up from that, angry, deception, sadness, and the most of all was that why he did think about me, why he entered in this kind of life and not thinking about me. And that thought, it kind of came with me for my whole study time until I was able, as an adult, to forgive myself, and forgive him, and engage myself in forensic psychology, and understanding what is in the brain that makes people make decisions like that, and at what point I have to tell myself this is not my fault, and he did love me the way he could love me, and I have to understand that, so yeah, I think the engagement into psychology to heal that hole, that was in there, was that I think the motivation to all of this.
Yeah. Yeah. So you had a dream, right? And you had a dream that you carried and it didn't stay inside of you, right? It asked you to move. And I think that, at some point that dream asked you to step beyond imagination and into action, even when the path ahead wasn't clear. Um, Dreaming is one thing, but choosing to move toward that dream is where I think our courage really shows up. And so for you, we have sailing, right? And I think that sailing is such a powerful metaphor, because not only is it, mentally us wanting to check out and go somewhere different, right? But physically, emotionally, spiritually, I think it carries so much more for you. And so when you hear sailing, or you think about sailing, what does it represent for you beyond the actual physical journey?
Oh, it's so much. I think the representation behind everything, it's like, it's looking now, it feels like it was, every step was just meant to be. Leaving that back then, it felt like I was all over the place. So with that saying, with losing my father, I often saw myself in this bay in Rio that has tons of sailboats, just stops in there, And I had that dream to get to know a sailboat. What is a sailboat? Why all those boats are there? And one day, that poor little girl from the biggest slum in Rio was thinking, one day I will be able to be invited to one of those boats just to see what is inside. So throughout education, I became first elementary teacher. And at some point around 2000, I saw myself moving to Finland. Finland has been the number one education in the whole world. So as a new teacher, I was thinking, wow, this opportunity, the opportunity that I had, that's fantastic. And I met the father of my son, and we started get along well. And then we decided to marry, and I moved to Finland. And once I moved to Finland, ta-da, he had a sailboat. And I already was in love with the sailboat just watching from the bay in Rio, but this time I could actually navigate in one of them. And every time I step on the boat, it's like the whole universe stays behind, and you literally get the clarity to think without any distractions, to see possibilities, to make decisions in the calmness, of your soul. And I start to fall in love with that. That what just keep me wanting more of this and wanting more. And the dream today has arrived. I was able to get my boat, to have my boat. I was able to finish my studies and helping other people with the education that I have. But be in the sea, it's where everything happens to me. It's where I make my decisions. It's where I can think. It's where I put my goals in order. It's where I reconnect to myself. I reconnect to nature, or nature connects to me and tell me what to do, and it's where I feel powerful, when I don't have anybody around me, and I can trust in myself. I can do this. This is my decision. This is my direction. And like that. It feels like that little girl in the beginning that did want to be a girlfriend or a housekeeper. It's the same thing even today. We are talking about 35 plus years, and I still being that way. I can make my better or the best decisions in my life when I'm with myself, when I'm calm, when I'm in my environment, and that gives me power.
Yeah. And I know that every single calling asks us to leave something behind, right? In order for us to make it to that next level, we have to kind of shed some layers. And sometimes that doesn't feel safe or familiar. So I'm curious, what did it take internally for you to leave behind the life that you knew and step into this new, uncharted waters?
A lot. I think every time I think about that, I think the price to be who I am today, it was quite high, because I'm not a Latin, but I'm South America, Brazil. It's kind of more European than Latin, but I'm in South America, where the whole family, it's like everybody together, everybody in everybody's business, everybody helps everyone. And at the age of 23, I decided to go to the North Pole of the Earth, and it started all over by myself with a language that I didn't know. I was not speaking English back then, so everything was pretty much new to me. Leaving behind my parents, my sister, my friends, everything that I knew for 23 years. Um, it was hard. The adaptation was very, very brutal. I felt to my core, you know. But at the same time, the conversation I always have with me during the hardest time through this adaptation, it was that nothing is forever, you know, absolutely nothing. And I will not be feeling that way for too long. That's what I kept saying to myself. You're not going to feel this way for too long. Soon you're going to meet someone, some friends, you know, some Brazilians are everywhere. Soon you're going to meet them. Soon you're going to have friends. Soon, and 1 year has been gone by in the Scandinavia. People are more reserved. I would not call them cold, but I call them reserved. But all it takes is you open up and you know, open up yourself and be capable to expose yourself, you know, put yourself out there and embrace what is coming, because it did take long overall. And soon enough, I start seeing that life start moving, you know, one friend here, one Brazilian there, another friend of a friend over there. And then slowly you get in that rhythm that it tells you what you have been saying to yourself all this time. You know, you are not going to feel this way for too long.
Yeah,
But
absolutely. It's like you start to manifest the life that you want. Uh,
exactly.
yeah,
But yeah,
yeah,
creating my family was what I have to leave behind. And not really behind because they are always with me, but not having them physically with me.
yeah.
But that it's also what made me stronger. So
Yeah. And I think that fear often shows up right at the edge of growth. It's like right when we're so close to that next level, then like the fear kicks in and we're like, "Oh my god, should I do this?" You know? And so especially when like the stakes feel very personal, you know, you felt a calling to do something or to kind of step out, but then it's like, do I go back to what's comfortable or do I stay uncomfortable and get that next level of, you know, whatever God has in store for you? Um, how did fear show up for you early on and how did you learn to move forward anyway?
I think hesitations have been showing along the way, but fear only show when I got sick at some point around 2013, and that was the biggest fear. I have ovary cancer, and I was already separated in Finland, and my whole family want me to come back to Brazil to be close to them and go through that treatment and you know, having the family support. But thinking rationally, that was not the best idea for me because I was in a first world country with the best doctors and best treatments, comparing to going back to Brazil for comfort and being around family. I decided to not do that, to go through that by myself in a foreign country with some of the friends that I have, which they were very supportive of it, and I appreciate the journey with them, having them next to me. But the truth is that was the best decision because today I am here. So that brought me that biggest fear. Am I, you know, it's the worst gonna happen when I'm completely far away from my country, from my family. Should I go back, you know, just to be comfortable and have that that support? Should I stay here? Am I doing the right thing? Seeing people crying and praying for me and I'm not completely sure, am I doing the right decision? So that brought that fear, that biggest fear. Um, thank God. I think God, it's everything, and it has been my support through, everything that has been happened to me, and I trust him. I trust him 100%. There was a point that I need to do a surgery, and over the surgery I needed to have a blood transfusion, and I don't do well with that. I don't believe in that. So I was very weak. I was in need of blood, but I signed all the papers at the hospital saying that there will not be blood transfusion, and if that's what God is reserving for me, I am in peace with that, and I am good with that. And I guess He has more for me, because I came out of the surgery, and I'm here today. All of that was between 2013 and 2017, the whole all treatment time. And I am strong today. I don't have any more cells, bad cells of the big C. And I just believe in God. I believe in Him. And after that, that's when I decided, take the ocean, because I love the ocean. And I want to have my own sailboat. And I'm going to be sailing. I'm going to do what I want to do.
Yeah. And speaking of the ocean, right? I think one of the most striking parts of your journey is the amount of time that you spend alone, right? Something that many people avoid, but you have 100% embraced. And I know you're not officially alone because you have your dog sailing with you, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So when you think about solo sailing, I know that requires these long periods of solitude where it's just you, God, in the open water, right? Um, what has being alone taught you about yourself?
I think it's trust. I think it's the understanding of the acknowledgement that I receive. If I study, if I dedicate myself to get to know whatever it is, in this case was sailing, um, I should know this. I should trust in what I educate myself into, and I should trust in me, because overall I am doing what I want to do. So why I would be afraid if I have been praying for this, right? Um, I think being alone and on the boat, especially at night, it's just helping me think about everything. And I like to think without distractions. And there is nothing or nobody to distract me. And I think also it's the hardest thing being alone on the boat, because your thoughts, it's following you. There is no way for you to run from your thoughts. So I think about connections with people. I think about if there is any relationship, friendship, whatever it is that I want to rebuild. I think about my attitudes. I think about what I'm gonna give on my next stop, who I'm gonna meet, and how it's gonna be. There is so much, and I think only people that really like the solitude can understand, because introverts, I feel like I am a little bit introvert. We think a lot before we do something, and having that time to think without having to talk or do this or do that, that's the time that you're going through and prepare yourself emotionally for whatever it's up to come, for you to behave well, or to encounter that. in the way that you want to. And the solitude on the boat, to me, it's a preparation for my next step.
Yeah.
If
And I
it
know that
answers-
being a no, and that's a great answer. And it just makes me think, from I guess from more of like our self-care or healing standpoint, being alone with your thoughts can be uncomfortable, especially if you've been like avoiding things and running from things. Again, it can be uncomfortable, but it can also be revealing. How has being alone at sea challenged or strengthened your mental health?
I think it has been challenged overall. I feel most of the time I feel I'm a very grounded type person, but then when you're alone like that, you realize that I was not doing good on this side. I could behave better on this side. So I think the challenge is to make myself humble, to make myself able to correct things. In that, if there is a challenge, being alone, I think that's what it is. Because every time I stop, if I have a long journey, or even if I'm just out on the sea and come back home, but when I come back, it's like a mission, Hey, I go to that person or to whoever, and they say, I think I have been thinking about this, and I should have been handled differently. And I want to fix this if you allowed me to fix this. And I believe only the solitude could give me that perception. Because if I'm on the land every day, we get busy, we go over other things, and you never come back to fix such a thing. But when you are alone, and like I say, those thoughts, those things come back to you, and you want to come back and you want to fix that. Because the ocean, I'm such a little grain of salt in the ocean, and I know how fragile I am. I know how fragile life is, and in a minute things can be gone. And sometimes I receive email, someone pass away, something like this happen, and you just don't want those moments to come, and you have not fixed things, fix relationships, fixing communication. And that's the challenge, was a challenge for me. Today, I honestly, I do quite often and easy, even though people say, I was not even thinking about this, Valeria, but I was, and it's important to me to fix this.
Yeah. That for so many people, solitude feels like isolation. But your experience sounds different. In what ways has solitude become a form of self-care rather than loneliness for you?
I think a self-care, because that's the time I have to take care of myself in so many ways. I would go first in nutrition, for example. That's the time that I love veggies. I don't eat meat. I eat fish, more or less. And that's when I can prepare my own meal. I can be healthy without compromising, because most of the time I'm on the boat by myself. My husband comes and he meets me there, here and there, but most of the time I'm alone. So I love that part of nutrition, and that's my self-care. I love the point that I'm not too much on the schedule. My work's allowed to me to do my job and release. So I have a good amount of time on the boat to meditate, to swim, to encounter with the nature, to walk my dog, to do things that reconnect me with God, with nature, with myself. So that to me it's another way of self-care. And most of all, I think it's when I have the time to be with my friends or my mom, even on the internet, on Zoom or things like that. It's always a positive connection, because I try to keep focus on that. I try to keep focus on the good things that are happening. If something is not so great, how to see another side of that, how to transform this in something good. Because overall, it feels that I learned throughout my journey. That's what I learned, that everything that is happening has a reason, and it's already written that I have to go through this. So it's my choice how I'm going to be going through this. Am I going through this in a positive way, or am I going through this complaining and being a victim? That it's not really me. Oh, the weather it's gonna be sucks today, and the waves is gonna be huge, and yes, and I have to continue to sail. So I'm gonna be sailing with pleasure, with and that's the attitude that I get on my solitude every day.
Yeah.
So from Freeport, Bahamas, I start very, very early heading to the Berry Islands. And the weather was perfect, but the wind not so much. I had to assist the sails with the motor, and so we made it to Berry Island. Enjoy the view. It's just gorgeous here. We're on the move, and this time to Nassau. Nassau, and I'm still going south, always south. But the wind, the weather is perfect, as you see it. It's just so good, so wonderful. But the wind is zero, and I'm motoring most of the time. I just hope that after I get around Puerto Rico, DR, Grenada, we would have a little bit more of wind. But I'm still in Bahamas and going south, and no wind, and it's beautiful. It's like this, So wishing everyone a happy, nice Sunday, and I am hope to get into the water once I get to my destination and have some nice refreshing swimming. I want to go under Lela just to check on everything and see some barnacles if it has been growing, so clean up a little bit. It's gonna be a nice Sunday today. All right, have a great, awesome week. See you guys.
Okay, so we just watched a glimpse of you out there with Layla. Can you take us back to how you found her and what that very first sale felt like for you?
Oh, yes. I feel that I will never forget that moment. I was looking for Lela for a little bit, and I have in my head what type of boat I wanted, what type of sailor I was going to be. And I found Lela in Colombia. I was I still live in Florida in Cocoa Beach, so I flew to Colombia, Cartagena, with my dog, and I fell in love with the boat prior to go there. So getting there just confirmed the whole love. And I spent 2 weeks in Cartagena before Lua and I we set a sail back to Florida. And yeah, it was 24 days sailing back. Um, about 3 countries we stopped, 8 ports, 2 storms that we got, and about 13,000 nautical miles that we made.
Wow. And this is your first solo sail. You flew to Colombia and then sailed home.
Yes,
Wow. Oh my
yes.
gosh, wow. How did it feel when you made it back home?
I was exhausted, but
Yeah.
it felt that I did it. It was like that I did it. I had been sailing a little bit back in Finland, and but I never sailed all by myself for that amount of time or anything like that. And I, if I want that boat when I was in Cartagena, I was thinking there is only one way for me to do this. It's taking that boat to Florida. And the first sea was the most challenged one, getting from Colombia to Jamaica. That Caribbean Sea has some very strong winds. The boat made some very high speeds on for about 2 days, and was a passage of 4 days. So in 4 days, in the middle of the ocean, I was just taking naps, 30 minutes naps. You can't sleep fully. And until I get to Jamaica, and I was able to dock and have a whole day and a half of sleep time, and continue the trip after that. But it there is one picture that I was standing a day before on the veranda at the balcony at the Airbnb that I booked for myself and Lua, and I was looking at the sea because it was right there at the marina, and I was looking at the sea and I was thinking, yes, we are gonna get to this ocean tomorrow, and it's gonna happen. It's happening, and that little butterfly in your stomach, and the feeling was so mixed. I want the boat there. I want to do that. Can I do this? Am I good enough for this? What I'm gonna encounter in the middle of the ocean? The only thing, like I say, I could think about it was, God, it's with me. If it's meant to be, it's meant to be, and we are gonna be just fine. And we were just fine.
Yeah. And that is so inspiring to me. Like the little girl in me is over here so excited because I mean, I just think about, when I'm talking to my friends, and we're talking about like taking a girls trip or doing this, like we're so fearful of doing things. Like I can't even imagine, just taking a solo girls trip, here or on a cruise or something, let alone being out there in the water for 24 days with my dog. So it's just one of those things where I'm so amazed. And your journey doesn't feel driven by ego or proving. It's not for the likes and the shares, right? It feels very guided by faith and trust and just that deep listening. How do faith and trust guide your decisions when there's no clear roadmap in front of you?
Clear? You think?
Well, I said without a clear roadmap in front of
Oh,
you.
wait. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, I think it's the person that he made me be. And I'm saying this because since I was a child, I have been very decided. I know what I want. I don't know how to get there. I will figure it out. But I know what I want. And it's so funny because my sister, it's like that. If we go to an ice cream shop, right? And I go there, I look, I want a strawberry. And she said, yeah, strawberry, but how is it this one? And I have never been that way. So once things are in my head, my next thought it's just how to make it happen, and not is this really what I want. It's already in my head. It is what I want. It's just thinking how I'm gonna work on this, how I'm gonna make it happen. And then while I'm thinking of how I'm gonna make it happen, I don't think I have a time to think about the fear.
Yeah.
Be- because usually comes later when it's about to happen, and then
Yeah.
comes that butterfly, and the thought is, well, but I already did all of this, now I'm gonna do it.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And I think that there's humility in knowing when to push and when to pause. It's like you have to have that balance because sometimes we do have to kind of push ourselves to do the next thing. And then sometimes we have to slow ourselves down to say, wait a minute, let's think about this. Like let's not go crazy. So what does it look like for you to respect both your personal limits and God's will at the same time?
I think that it's exactly where I am now. I sailed now from Florida until Turks and Caicos, and I'm very close to Dominican Republic, and the boat is very close to Dominican Republic now. And that journey compared to coming from Colombia, now I'm doing this, right?
Yeah.
And the current, it's completely the opposite way. So I'm facing challenges that I have not faced it ever before, and the waters are coming towards me. The wind is right on my nose, and that has putting my dog into a very difficult time. And I love my dog more than anything, and that's the reason why I have to rethink everything. And I say, you know what? I'm stopping here in Turks and Caicos. Let me have a little pit stop over here. Let me figure out this and see how to continue with this. If I have to continue with my dog, if I have to continue all by myself, if I have to change the route of my journey. I am studying all of this because now I am facing this. I am facing that challenge with that it's in conflict with what I want, what the nature wants, and I'm thinking what God wants from me.
Yeah. And that's a lot to navigate, and so I'm glad that you had the opportunity to take the stop and take the time to rest for you and for your dog, so that way you can gain the clarity that you need to continue, whether that is keep going forward with the trip, or like you said, am I going to do this by myself? Am I sending my dog home? Am I going home? You know what I mean? There's a lot that plays into that. And it to me, it just definitely shows a lot of growth, because I think that growth often brings us face to face with parts of ourself, a lot of times parts of our past as well that needs compassion. How has this journey helped you to forgive parts of your past or even yourself?
I think the forgiveness part, it's having I think at some moment I might have that kind of thoughts in my head that because I want something so badly, which is having my boat in that little bay over there in Rio, and giving that gratitude to that little girl that put me in this position today. But I'm also, um, I think I have to understand what I'm doing. It's already huge. It's big, and I have to forgive myself if the journey doesn't go exactly how I want it. It can happen. It just might not happen exactly how I wanted. And that to me goes to everything in life. We sometimes we forget to be grateful to make it happen, maybe with some adaptations, maybe with some little change, but overall we can make it happen, and just be grateful for that part, be grateful for that experience. And I think that's where I'm telling myself now. I became a forensic psychologist. I love that. I have a great, beautiful son that it's an honest man. He knows how to treat women. I raise him right, or his father and we raise him right. He's a good person. I have a beautiful family. I have my animals that I love, with all my heart. I cannot concentrate my thoughts and my energy in one time thing that it might not go the way how I want it, when God already have provided all of this to me, and that's what I have to keep reminding myself. All what I already have, all what I already went through, and I'm still here. And if it's not this way, it will be in a different way, but it can happen. It can happen too.
Yeah. And, your journey isn't just personal. I think that it carries meaning for women all over the world. Why is it so important to you that, other women see you doing this?
Oh, that's strong, a strong
Yeah.
question. I think I would say us as a Black woman, right? It's very often we encounter things or situations in life that says this is where you stop. You can't go farther. You can't do this. And for me, being a Black woman sailing by myself in a 43-foot long boat in the middle of the ocean, it's already something that I hear in all of the stops that I do. I calling to the marina, asking what it's the dock that I need to go. And when I'm approaching, the first thing they say, it's like, "Where's your crew? Why nobody's helping you?" And I say, "I'm here alone." So my crew, it's my dog. He doesn't know how to throw a line yet. And they just can't believe that, first of all, I'm a woman, then I'm a Black woman,
Yeah.
and I'm sailing by myself. How you are doing this? Are you crazy? They don't say that for a man. Are you crazy sailing by yourself? A man sailing
Yeah.
out there.
Yeah. It's
You
almost
know?
admirable. Like they applaud him, like, "Oh, you did that by yourself." And then when we do it, they're like, "What?" Like,
Yeah. Are you
yeah.
sure you don't have nobody down there? No, I don't. It's just me. And meanwhile, I'm trying to get my boat dock, and he's stopping to talk to me, and I'm doing all by myself right in front of him because
Yeah.
he's still in shock that I'm there by myself. You know,
Yeah.
I think my message, I love to see women following and encouraging me. And I try my best to encourage everyone that I encounter to, because we can do this, we we turn ourselves upside down for emergency situations and the difficult situations in at home with a family. We are in 10 places at the same time. We are cooking and looking at the baby and changing diapers, and we can do this. We can do
Mm,
anything we want. And then
mm,
I hope women can have other women that looks like me, women that doesn't look like me. Any women can look at me and feel that, oh, I have that dream that was over there at some draw, and I'm gonna take that dream out and I'm gonna do this now, because you just have this life, you just have this time, and
yeah.
we can do this. And once you start, I think the hardest part is to make the first step. Once
Yeah.
you make the first step, you're gonna see that you're gonna keep on pushing. People is gonna start to believe in you because you are believing yourself. And then you're
Exactly.
gonna see the supports, you're gonna see the people coming along with you, and I believe, at least for me, that's what gives me even more power. People that I don't know and kind of join the Instagram, and oh, I'm following you. It's so nice to see you. And now in my head, it's like, yes, one more for me to show them we can do this. We can
Yeah.
do this, and that keeps me pushing. To be honest, it really does.
Yeah. And listen, you have gained a whole sisterhood within my community and you don't even know it yet. I have been bragging and talking about you to the girls. And so they probably have already started following you. And I'm like, listen, we have one job, and that is to check in and see where she is in this moment. Does she need anything? Does she need a boost of, encouragement? Does she need a good word today? Because again, I think that that whole logic of being, my sister's keeper, we have to do that for each other. Society tries to, pin us against each other or tear us down and make us believe that as Black women, we can't, that we have to be limited or that we belong in a box. And so I, spend a lot of hours trying to cultivate communities and spaces for us where we can support each other. And so maybe it's me tuning in and checking in to say, okay, girl, where you at in the world today? And me being inspired by you. Or maybe it's you, making a post, pouring a message after you've sat out there with God and had a conversation. And now you use that as your testimony on Instagram. And that blesses me, So I think that there's a lot that we can do to support one another and help each other. And thinking about the women who are listening right now, I'm sure that, there's some that still feel boxed in by their circumstance or fear or expectation. So if you could speak directly to her, without filters or fear, what would you say to the woman who's afraid to dream because where she comes from maybe didn't have the best role model or the best inspiration? What would you say to her?
Um, so much, but I think I would say that I I was one of them. I did have much to dream of. I would never believe that girl, age 7 years old, would never believe that today I have been living in three different countries. I speak five languages. I have sailing around the Caribbean Sea now for the second time. I was able to get my little boat. Um, I became a forensic psychologist. I I would never believe. So you just have to start. And if it start with that, that best friend, and you put that out there. You have to talk about. You have to be able to listen to what you are thinking, because then you are processing this. We can listen, and then you're processing, you already put out there, and you take your first step towards whatever that dream is. But if you can dream, you can do it. And it's it can sound like a cliche, but it isn't, because I was that slum little girl with only two options, and I reject both of them to be who I am. And I am in charge of my dreams. I cannot give my dreams to anybody to achieve for me. I can't give my happiness to anyone to make me happy. I'm responsible for my happiness, and it's working towards what I want. It's failing, because there was a lot of fails, and I'm happy for those, because you only fail if you try, and a lot of people don't even try. So I have to fail. I have to get up again. Now I know what not to do, and I make 5 more steps ahead, until the next challenge. And then you go again. What you cannot do, it's just stop. Don't
Yeah.
don't give up. Don't do this. Trust yourself. Trust in your dream. Talk loud, out and loud, and then make the first step.
Absolutely. And we are all rooting for you. I cannot wait to see this photo of Layla, docked in the bay. We're, like I said, we're all we're not on the sidelines, we're on the shore rooting for you, waiting for you. There's a bunch of us who said next trip we're coming. So we're getting ourselves together. So we're going to be with you on the boat.
Yes. Oh my
'Cause, yeah, I
God.
think it's just so amazing. And like I said, I mean, I'm just even honored to get to witness this in the manner that I am. I am thankful and grateful for social media and the evolution of, all of technology that allows us to be with you. Even though we're not there with you, we get to be on this trip with you. We get to experience it with you. So I'm thankful for, just the evolution of technology, because, you and I grew up in an era where we didn't have computers, we didn't have internet. So to have all of these things now is absolutely amazing.
Yes, it
um,
is. It is.
and so for the women who feel inspired and they want to stay connected to your journey, how can people follow your journey and continue to witness what you're building and becoming?
Oh, thank you. They can follow me on the Instagram. I have a page for Lela, Sailing Lela, and also on YouTube as well as Sailing Lela. I try to update and keep a lot of updates on the Instagram. It's easier that way, and on YouTube I usually post all the new videos. So my next video, it's gonna be a very much conflict what I just spoke over here about what is the next step to do, and talking a little bit of the challenge that I'm facing. And it was good to have this pit stop, as I say, and reconnect with my family, which was very worried about me. Reconnect with my home, my animals here, my house, and it gives me a clarity of what to do in my next step. But those two, Instagram and YouTube, are the best way to follow me, and I try to keep them updated quite often. Yeah.
Absolutely. And family, don't worry. We have it scrolling below. We'll also make sure we include it in the description so you guys can stay connected and see where she's at out there in the world. Always hoping to, share some positive inspiration for you. Because like I said, I know even out there, life is lifing. And sometimes we vibrate a little bit lower. So hopefully the community can show up and help you, and just continue to be a blessing to you. Because again, I don't know if you know it or not, but you are a blessing to so many women. You are an inspiration, and there are little girls everywhere who are looking at you like, I want to do that. I want to be like her when I grow up. So this is bigger than, docking the boat in the bay for the photo op. It's bigger than that. And I think sometimes we just need someone else to remind us of that, because I know I am humbled quite often just from doing this podcast and, sharing these stories. People are constantly reminding me that this is bigger than what I thought it was. So I hope that you know that what you're doing is bigger than the trip that you were taking and the memories that you are making, because it is leaving a very lasting impact on so many people, myself included. So thank you for just being you. Thank you for choosing option C when they tried to hand you option A and B. Thank you for making the decision to say, I'm not doing any of this. Like, you guys can have this because it's none of the above for me. I'm going over here.
Yes,
Yeah.
and thank you. And like you say, it's bigger. It's bigger than me now. The dreams that I have for Lela, it's to get to that bay and having a project involving the kids and the community that I came from. At that age, I was never able to even step on the boat, and now I have my own boat. I want to bring those kids. I want, if they like the ocean, if they like the boat, being on the water, I want to be able to, if I can do that once a week, or I don't know what the future holds, but to create a little group of kids from the community I came from, and start developing that dream on them, start making them dream bigger and see there is other possibilities. That's the dream for Lela now.
Yeah. Well, I will definitely be tuned in and watching. And if there's ever anything I can do, please stay in touch. And I can't wait to see this photo. I can't wait to see all of the amazing things unfold for you, because I know it's going to be big. I don't know how and I don't know why, but God is telling me that this is going to be big for you. And I can't wait to witness that, just to say, hey, I know her. That's my girl right there.
Thank you.
But
Thank you so
no,
much. Oh my God.
thank you for joining us in the Room to Breathe, and honestly just trusting this space with your story. Again, thank you for just your courage, your honesty, and the way that you remind us that possibility doesn't come from comfort. It comes from making a choice. Your journey across these uncharted waters is more than just a sail. I think that it is an invitation for women to believe again. And we need that now more than ever. So just thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for listening to be here with me. I can feel the energy. I am absorbing the energy, and I like the connection. So you guys, if you want to take a time connecting with me, I will respond and try my best to keep everyone updated.
Yes, thank you. And family, listen, if this conversation, I honestly believe that it's such a reminder that our environment can inform us, but it doesn't get to define us. Don't, understand that dreams don't require permission, right? Healing doesn't need an audience, and becoming doesn't happen all at once. It happens with one brave decision at a time. So if today's episode spoke to you, I want you to sit with this truth. If you can imagine it, you can pursue it. The journey may not be easy, but it is possible because you are possible. Now, before we part ways, let me leave you all with a little love and light. As always, I encourage you to keep breathing through the highs, the lows, and every moment in between. I want you to keep choosing peace, even if it feels out of reach. And know that here at the Self-Care Club, you will always be seen, always valued, and always supported. So don't be afraid to take up space, speak your truth, and make a little room for you to breathe. I love each and every one of you to life, and I am praying that your day is not just amazing, but aligned, intentional, and yes, on purpose, filled with purpose. This has been another Room to Breathe podcast, and I cannot wait to connect with you all again soon. Thank you.
Me, I